Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, let's do a level 115 review of Frederika, the Halloween version. I had zero plans to pull this character, but they hand out the tickets, the rate up tickets, you know, 1 or 2 a day, and I pulled her on the very first one that I got, so I was like, cool, I'll build her. Characters that fall into my lap like that, I should just go ahead and level them, no matter who they are. But she happens to be Earth element, and then Earth is maybe my third favorite after Fire and Dark. I have a lot of nice vision cards for the element, and it all kind of started with Muraga. I liked Muraga so much that after that I EX'd Kiton, I took Oberon to 120, and then Frederika is going to be the latest addition to that. She's kind of a head-scratcher of a unit. I consider her pretty niche, and then maybe not as obviously good as even the other Earth units. And we can look at my Earth units. I already have a team that I love, and that's Oberon, Muraga, and Kiton. That's a super balanced team. I can cruise on that team for months, possibly even years. But what Frederika is a tie-up unit. And then I'll put up my chart of unit roles, unit archetypes, and then where they operate on the field, and then how much of an attacker or a support character that they are. Tie-up would be where Breaker and then Evade would intersect. So we see that more kind of on the right side of the chart, which is more towards support. And I think that's a perfect place for Frederika. Top class Evade, she's actually more evadey than Kiton, if you can believe it. She's actually on a level with 2B, but she does not have the reflex, so that's going to be a major difference between the two. She has lots of breaks, lots of good and interesting breaks as well, like slash resistance break, defense break, accuracy down. But there's not going to be a lot of damage coming from her, and she's really a critical based attacker. And I admit I'm not very well versed on how critical works or how to make it work really well. I'll try to learn that, and then I'll talk about that either in its own video or in the level 120 review for Halloween Frederika. But yeah, for most of us, Frederika is not going to be a good source of damage, but that's okay. She's a tie-up unit. Her role is to get in there, go to the front of the line, and then just engage the enemy. And then the enemy will use turns and AP and then skill uses on her, while your main attacker is going to be doing damage to them. And so one PvP setup that you could do with her, you could do tank and then tie-up unit and then attacker, or you could do something which might be more fun but more risky, which would be evade, attacker. And then the breaks and stuff that Halloween Frederika has will be more to set up the main attacker rather than herself. And then let's look at the model here real quick. It's interesting because there's kind of a big difference between the 2D and then the 3D model. The 2D, it kind of looks like she's wearing a short skirt, but on the 3D model it looks like she's wearing bloomers. You might not know what bloomers are. Those are old school underwear like they used to wear in Victorian days. I'm kind of a fan of bloomers because they're inherently kind of hilarious because they are underwear, but they're not very revealing or sexy at all, so they're kind of quaint. But then to wear it like outerwear like this also has kind of its own sense of eros, so yeah, I quite like it on her. And so I prefer the 3D model to the 2D actually, because it's just a skirt here. And then the orange, it's kind of a nice match with her hair color, so yeah, I like the design overall of her. Okay, then we can look at stats. HP is low, attack is pretty high, and that's even before the buff, the panels that she gets for going to job level 25, which I have not unlocked yet. Her attack is kind of similar to Dwayne actually, but as we shall see, she's not going to do as much damage as him. Okay, then we can look at resistances. They're pretty good overall. Pierce 15, projectile 10, magic 10, and then negatives on the other two. I always love these types of characters, but attack scaled attackers strong against magic users. I've seen a lot of talk about her being a kind of a pierce resistant specialist, but magic resistance, I think she would be a great magic user hunter. And then magic resistance is often easier to build than the other resistances, so I see some potential here. Alright, then we got the Trust Master. This is an interesting one. For one thing, it has a lot of critical, that's nice for her. And then it has a self buff for 3 turns. When doing critical for 2 turns, she will add single target break to herself. That is still a very rare ability to do, the single target break. Great for raids. I think this Frederika is going to be really good for raids. Or any content where you need to chain, like Trial of Reckoning or something. Okay, and then she's got her 3 jobs. Main job Fencer, she's the first one with that. Sub jobs Dragoon, and then Ninja. So Dragoon, we can think of like, you know, Pierce type attacks. Oberon, you know, he can do the Pierce breaks and stuff, so that might be good synergy there. There's also the Titan Vision card, so you could raise the damage there. And then Ninja, this will be great for support abilities to give her more like movement and evade and stuff. But then also Doton. Everybody forgets about those ninja skills, but the only way to guard against it is defense or earth resistance. Doesn't have an attack type, so this can cut through everything. And then base, move 3, jump 2, so pretty mobile. Okay, next let's look at the board. We'll look at the Fencer main job skills. Here is Rapid Drain, probably her best attack, but medium range. For 3 turns will break defense and then do 2 hits for damage, medium, and then will also drain, so that's a lot of abilities in one attack. This again is going to be a nice attack for the stuff where you want to chain, raids and then Trials of Reckoning. Okay, here's an AoE buff for 3 turns. We'll buff Area of Effect, Resistance up. That's great for her because she's not going to be able to take too many hits. And then for 3 turns we'll also restore her AP on critical. That will be important for her because she doesn't have a ton of AP to work with. Okay, Whirl Slash. This is one of her very few AoE attacks, and that's one of her biggest weaknesses, is lack of AoE. But spinning attack, greater chance of critical rate, medium damage, and then we'll break critical rate on the other guys. I think it's like plus 30 for herself and then minus 20 for people that she hits. Okay, then Sharp Edge. This is her least expensive attack. Let's see, small damage but has a greater chance of critical rate. Better range than the other 2-hit attack. And then another self buff will buff Evade, and then also single target resistance for 3 turns. So she has access to both single target and AoE resistance, so she should be able to better take hits. And then the 3-turn evade up is very nice, and I think that's pretty rare too. We'll compare her with Kiton later, but Kiton has a self buff to raise her own evade, and it is a higher rate than this buff, but it only lasts for 1 turn, so I'm thinking this one is going to be better overall, just more turns of higher evade. Okay, then Fencer Subjob. Another self buff, raise move +1, and then also raise critical rate. Again, if you're going for a critical build for her, this might be good. And then Hit Break goes out in a straight line, AoE, medium damage, and lowers accuracy. Interesting. Okay, next we got Dragoon. Here we got the Pierce attacks. And then what's that? Move and jump +1. That could be useful in the right place. And then the Brave Break. And the attack self buff. Actually, I wonder if this is her only attack self buff. Yeah, maybe. Alright. Okay, and then last we got Ninja. Poison Cloud, great for manual play. Doton, the typeless attack. Let's see, accuracy, and then 100% critical rate, so that's nice. Let's see, small damage, and then chance of stop, so that could be good. Shuriken, and then hide. Alright, and then we have the support abilities. And then I think some people didn't notice this, but the reason why Frederika has a higher evade rate than Kiton is because she has 2 support abilities that can raise her evade. But the first one is this Fencer one. Will raise attack, defense penetration, and then evade. And then we also have the ninja, which will raise agility and luck. That's basically more evade there. And then jump +1, HP up, Shukuchi for move and jump +1, and then critical rate and critical damage up from this Fencer support ability. Okay, then reaction abilities from Fencer. We have this one where she takes damage. She will react by lowering accuracy, and she'll hit first. And then otherwise, she has the poison counter and then the drain from the Lancer. There's uses for all of those. Okay, and then limit break. We'll raise her own slash resistance penetration and then do big damage, and then for 3 turns we'll blind the enemy. Good synergy with her. And then master ability, the typical Earth Party buff, and then own attack up 15%, and then evade up 5. And then we look at her board. She has an attack up 20% here, and then another attack 8 here, and then the upgradable node here. So her attack's pretty high, but I haven't been able to get a lot of damage out of her yet. I think it's going to come down to really taking advantage of the critical. Okay, let's talk about equipment real quick. So I have the Spine Blade. I think if you want to go for damage, this is going to be fine. You can get the defense penetration, +20. There is a blade that we can farm now, and it will give you, for the first 3 turns, additional critical damage. I don't think that that's good, especially if you already have the Spine Blade. I don't think you need that. Here's the Engine Blade from Final Fantasy 15, slash resistance penetration. That could also be good for her. What else we got? Yeah, those might be the best ones. Oh, here's the Legendary Blade, Densetsu no Ken. This is from Final Fantasy 4, but just a slash attack up, AP use down 10%. That could be okay for her, but she has other ways to get AP, so I really do think that Spine Blade is maybe one of the best for her. Okay, and then here, let's talk about her vision card. There we are. Okay, for Earth units, we'll raise agility, 15. People love agility, and it also helps with evade, but of the 3, luck, evade, and then agility, I think it's the least important of the 3. And then also Earth units will get more spirit. That really helps with her as a magic hunter. And also at max, Earth units will get more pierce resistance. And then personal ability is luck +20. Luck +20 is great, but it's not nearly as good as luck +35. And I think if you want to use Frederika as an evade unit or a tie-up unit, you kind of need this card because there's no replacing it. You can use that monsters card in addition to this one to really shoot the evade through the roof, but you can't equip it to replace it, I think. Just to compare, Birth of a New Life, where is that? There we are. Yeah, this also gives you luck +20. Anybody who's used both this and Secrets of the Heart know that there's a big difference between the two, so yeah, I personally don't feel a lot of need for the new Monsters Vision card. Okay, next, let's head over to the field. Let's look at Frederika's evade, and then also some of her damage output. Okay, first, let's take a naked Frederika and a naked Kiton, and let's check the evade rates on them. We will bring the Titan Vision card in order to give them both extra evade. Okay, attack from behind, 100%. 92%, so already we're seeing Frederika is better there. 77 from the side. 94 from the side. And 79 from the front on Kiton. And 62 from the front on Frederika. Okay, next let's use the self buffs. Okay, that'll last for 1 turn. On Frederika, we'll use the 3-turn buff. Alright, let's attack from behind again. So 65, it's dropped about 30, 40. And 71, still pretty close. And attack from the side, 50. And 56. And from the front, 35. And 41. Okay. I think like 6% more hit rate is, worth going the extra 2 turns. And then I feel really like safe bringing in a well-built Kiton into PvP. She evades a ton, so I'm going to feel similarly safe bringing in Frederika, I think. Okay, here let's go for a super overpowered build for Frederika. Let's see what her evade looks like now. Unfortunately, I haven't really built up her Esper resonances, so I don't have any to really raise her critical rate or critical damage. That's something I'll have to work on. Okay, we don't need to attack Kiton. So from behind, 26, that's without any buffs. From the side, 11. And from the front, 0. That is very cool. Alright, again, let's use the evade up self buff. Oh, and then both Kiton and Frederika, they have the support ability equipped to raise agility and luck, but Frederika also has the just the other fencer support ability to raise evade. Alright, so very low rates there. Okay, next let's look at Frederika's damage output. We'll just bring her against some kind of typical Earth builds. Unfortunately, I do not have a Tita's necklace. I actually haven't worked very much on this account at all on critical stuff. It's kind of one of those niche areas to build, like Evade or Drain Force, and yeah, it's just one that I haven't really worked on. But Frederika's kind of base critical rate is about the same as Tita's, so yeah, they're on the same page. Alright, but let's use this self-buff to raise our own critical rate. And then we got Muraga, he's kind of built for defense, he'll have about 60 defense. And then Mont, he's got about 40 or so. Alright, so normal attack, 1,000 there. A little over 1,000 there, and then a little over 1,000 there, okay. Okay, let's look at the cheapest one, Sharp Edge. This is the small damage multiplier. About 2,000, almost 3,000 there. Here's the 2-hit attack, which will also break defense. Better damage, but she's not one-punching anybody. Alright, and then we saw the spinning attack, and then there is the straight-ahead AoE. But let's break the defense, and then let's see what kind of damage we can do after that. And let's see if we get a critical hit here. Okay, we did get the critical hit, so a little bit more damage than was advertised. But yeah, it's going to take like 2 more turns to take down Muraga. Okay, and then his defense went down about 30. That's a pretty good defense break. Okay, once again, we'll look at a Sharp Edge. Okay, so attack went up a little bit. Alright, and then we got to the critical rate there. That was maybe like, what, 30% extra damage, so yeah. Okay, so that was a preliminary look at Frederika. Over the weekend, I'll take her maybe into mock guild battles or arena or something. And then farther in the future, I will do a level 120 review of her, where hopefully I can speak better to critical. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.